Today, I tried to beat Deltarune without using Kris. Is this run gonna make it to the end? Or am I gonna fail in the first 20 minutes? I guess we'll see. I was really conflicted on whether I would be fighting the Darkners or recruiting them. I went to Lancer and asked my chat, but like usual, the vote was tied 50-50, so I just ended up letting Susie take care of Lancer. After though, we decided that we would leave the fate of the Darkners up to a coin flip. I completely forgot to show the coin flip on screen, but it chose recruiting everyone. I went through the field of hopes and dreams, and thought it would be fun to battle every Darkner. Wait, so if I can't use Kris, then why did I do that? So, moving forward, we're gonna try to not battle every Darkner. But that didn't last long, because not even a minute later, Lancer showed up and forced 3 Hathies on me. And when we can't use Kris to act, we have to spare each Hathie 10 times using Ralsei, which will total to 33 turns or about 5 minutes for a single battle. It would have been so much easier to just fight things. Not to worry though, because now we have Susie on the team, and since we can't use Kris to warn the enemies, Susie just kind of does everything by herself. It didn't take too long to reach the rate board, where we encountered the most powerful being in the game. This guy. You see, in order to win this fight, we have to get that crown off its head, and we are very limited in what we can do. So does that mean we have to use Kris here? Well, no, actually, because if you didn't see it, it didn't happen. With Susie leaving us, we're right back down to just Ralsei, and that makes fighting Darkners actually painful, since every time we have to spend 11 turns sparing a single enemy. I tried my best to avoid everything, but because this guy's a fucking cheater, we had to encounter him. The next roadblock is Susie and Lancer. Since you have to win this fight through either fighting or special conditions, I didn't think that the continuously sparing technique would work, but there's only one way to find out, right? I wasted like 12 turns sparing Lancer, just to determine that it doesn't work. If only the coin flip let me fight things. I ended up accidentally encountering this ranger rodent in the castle, but since we can control Susie now, we can spare things much quicker. That being said, these battles still take like 2 minutes each. I decided to try and fight Jebel, but I did have to fight him with Susie and Ralsei since we can't use Kris to make him tired. Why did we just allow fighting the Susie and Lancer battle but allowed it here? Well, Susie and Lancer are a mandatory boss. This is an optional boss, so it's fine if I disobey the coin flip. I encountered the head Hathies, which took just as long as the regular Hathies from earlier, before totally not using Kris on K-Round again. Chapter 1 was almost over, and all I had left to do was just survive the king, which was very easy since Rappex are harder to fight than him. I started Chapter 2, and immediately got put into a werewire fight. If this was Chapter 1, this battle would have taken 22 turns. But for some reason, you only need to spare a Darkner 5 times to spare it now, so it went by twice as quick. Luckily, we wouldn't need to be spamming the spare button anymore, since Susie and Ralsei learned how to act in the Sweet Captain Cakes fight. At this point, Susie and Ralsei can do everything that Kris can do. However, that doesn't mean Kris is out of the picture. Before acquiring the new axe, we had to do the arcade machine. While most of my chat said that this didn't count as using Kris and Susie are controlling it together, so it does count as using Kris. I said Kris a little too much in that sentence. Thankfully, we can play through the rest of Cyberfield without using Kris, and most of Cyber City can be done with just Noelle. Honestly, I think it's kinda funny that Noelle can 3v1 Burley. It just shows how stupid and weak he truly is. After Burley though, Kris has to venture on their own and fight Spamton. Why does this game hate me so much? All I wanted to do was to ditch Kris since I was never supposed to control him in the first place. Wouldn't Kris be happy about this? But no, I can never have what I want in this world apparently. Like, if I asked everyone right now to subscribe if they enjoy, would anyone even do it? Anyways, with Spamton defeated, we can reunite with the Lancer fan club, and have you noticed that I've barely fought anything in this chapter? It feels like Chapter 1 has way more enemies compared to Chapter 2, and that's surprising since Chapter 2 was like double Chapter 1's length. But that was only the first half of Chapter 2. The second half has quite a lot of battles, so we can finally get some action again. First we had to fight these ambulances, which Susie and Ralsei can deal with very easily. Then we had to fight these Maws, which Susie and Ralsei can deal with very easily. 5 minutes later we had to fight the mouse wheel, which Susie and Ralsei can deal with very easily. Are you seeing a pattern here? With Susie and Ralsei getting their own axe, Kris is essentially useless. Apart from Spamton and the arcade machine, we even never had to use Kris this chapter. And that's sad considering that we've already been in this chapter longer than the previous, and we still have more to play through. Hashtag justice for Kris, I guess. We're able to dodge these swatchlings and instantly spare Task Manager, so the next obstacle is Rules. But we can actually just let Rules win his game to progress this fight. So after he decided to claim every single house apart from the one he needed to win, the The trio moved on to face the Queen. And we can actually save Relay from destroying his wing here, which I didn't expect we could without Kris. You're probably realizing that I didn't end up fighting Spam to Neo in this run, and yes, you would be right. I was planning on fighting him, but I forgot to get the check marks for the hacker, and I didn't feel like going back to get them. So instead, we're moving to fight Giga Queen, where we are clearly using Kris since their head appears when initiating an attack. And just like that, I did not beat Deltarune without using Kris. That's just the way some challenges go, I guess. What am I saying? I knew going into this that Karen would be the end of this run.